Hey everyone, First Chemist here with my cameraman, Little Green Man. And today we're going to take a look at the Heng Russian T-90 airsoft tank. I've had this since Christmas and I'm just getting a chance to actually put this thing together. So I've been kind of busy. But we're going to give you guys a look at it and give you a first impression. So, I'll show you the tank here. Actually, there's the box. It's the box. It's a good sized box. It's 1/16 scale for these tanks between my dad and I, and actually, Little Green Man has one too. We have quite a few of different types of these. They're pretty reasonable as far as price wise. They shoot airsoft bullets, and if you're even remotely interested in tanks, they're pretty well modeled. So without further ado, let's take a look at this tank. All right, so when you buy it, it has none of the gear on it, so it's pretty plain when it comes out of the box. Here we do have moving parts. This is opening doors. Okay. On this particular tank, I think that's the only hatch that opens. On some of the other ones that you can get do have more opening hatches than that. You can modify these tanks too, which is pretty cool actually. From different companies, they sell different modified parts, whether it be metal treads, metal motors. This one does have a metal motor in it. You can get metal road wheels with actual rubber outsides on them. You can get really at some of the other tanks, not this particular model yet, but you can get some of like the World War II stuff actually entirely made out of metal. They're quite a bit more expensive. Or you can just put the different things that you want, that metal, if you want the metal treads on them, or the metal drive wheels or road wheels. It adds a little more heft to it. But as far as the packages, this one came with a ton of stuff compared to some of the other ones I've done. This is all parts. Another package with a bunch of stuff in it. And yet another. Oh my God. So there is a lot of stuff. We may put some of this stuff on camera today. And then this as well. Look like some zip ties. And I'm not sure what we're going to be using these for, but I guess we'll find out when we look at the directions. These tanks, when they run, forward, reverse, left and right, and all that, the normal movements. You can move the turret up and down from side to side. They have, sounds for the motors and everything too. Some of the models also do like smoke for the exhaust too, to give it a little more realism. So I am going to grab the directions for this, and then we're going to try to put some of this together. So we unpackaged all these loose parts, and I have to say this is easily the most loose parts I've had in any of these Heng tanks. There is a ton of them. I almost feel like I'm building it from scratch here. That'll be kind of fun. The one thing I found, they are made so you can just pop them in. They all have the little parts that you can just push into the holes onto the tank itself. But I do recommend, and this is up to you, but I do recommend that you glue them in, because if you are running these tanks, there's a chance you could lose a part. And good luck finding it if you've got it out in the grass or what. So If it's just going to be a shelf queen, which, most of my tanks sit on itself most of the time, but for when I do run them, I'd rather have it so the parts don't fly off. So the directions you do get from them too, be prepared, they're badly translated. You probably get better translation if you get something like a Tamiya tank. These are almost copies of those Tamiya tanks, but they're so much. They're about a third of the cost of a Tamiya tank. So unless you got a lot of money, these are probably a better fit for most people. And if you want to upgrade these a bit, you can at, a little at a time. But these come out of the package basically ready to run. I mean, I could run this tank right now, even without all the stuff on it. Just pop the rechargeable battery in. There is a rechargeable battery in the box. It does come with a transmitter to run the tank and everything. So it comes with basically everything you need. So let's start putting this thing together with the badly translated directions. All right, guys, this is basically how the directions are set up too. And this might be kind of handy for you when you go to put these together. They do have the parts all numbered on here, like E5, B3, I2, and on the piece itself, it'll give you up in the corner. It'll give the letter, and then it'll tell, and then you could just find the part that matches up with it, so you're not like scrambling around trying to figure out what parts are which. So I don't recommend you go and pull these all off of the holders right from the beginning, as like I started to do. But that way it'll make it easier for you. So if you look at this is E, and this particular piece is 5. And if you look on here, there's E5. It shows you where to go and everything with it. So just kind of pay attention to that when you go to this. It'll make things easier for you when you go to put it together. Okay. So guys, another little tip that we've learned from our mistakes. We were trying to do this book in order. So we were looking around, and a lot of things didn't make sense. There was stuff that was already put together that they weren't explaining. But I don't know if it might be kind of like these anime book, these manga books they make, where you actually have to start with the directions backwards, because instead of starting on the beginning pages, you might want to start back on like 15 or 14, because this is where they show you how to put the turret equipment together. And by the time, if you start the opposite way, it's assuming you have all that stuff put together. And when you're trying to figure out how to put these things together, it's actually very confusing. So just a little tip, it might be easier for you to start from the back of the instruction booklet to the front. So hope that might help somebody out when they actually try to put these together, because the directions frankly stink.
Hey guys, Little Green Man here, and we just figured out that some of the holes that we're putting some of the stuff in are a little smaller than they should be, so we are etching them out with an X-Acto knife.
Make them a little bit bigger so they'll fit a little more square. Alright, so this should go in now. There we go. Nice.
He just got done finishing carving it out.
Yep. And then, okay. We should go up in here. I have to glue these a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, because they're a little. There we go. Perfect. All right.
We like to use E6000.
And then we have finished well, not finished it, but we've done quite a bit on the other side so far too.
We still got a ton more to add.
And I would do glue as much as you can for most of the stuff. There is going to be wheel hubs as well. That's the one part I would not glue. There's screws in there, and if these wheels ever ride out off of the screws, if you glue the hubs on, obviously you're not going to be able to get at them. But what I'm going to try, put a little rubber cement on them. Just something to stick them, but not permanent. Something that's easy to, it won't come off on its own, but will help hold it in place.
Guys, little green man here, and in the directions it said that we needed to put I-9,
a piece called I-9,
right across.
It's gonna go right here. There's gonna be 3 pieces,
but instead of I-9, it's actually really I-1. So they obviously didn't really do a good job with the directions.
So, just so you know. All right, guys, all the parts are on now. This is how it looks with all the gear on. Nicely, it looks pretty good. We'll give this a quick once over and we'll see how it runs. All right, without further ado, let's take it outside.
Go.
We showed you it running. This is how you load it. Lift up the hatch. Yeah, you do have 2 hatches to open. This is just to put a 1/16 scale person in. Yep. And then this is where you load the bullets. You put them in here. They roll down into a compartment. Close it up. And then we start. You can switch the sound, and that changes how the type of engine sound and the type of machine gun noises it makes. So there you go. I prefer that type of sound. All right, so when you want to shoot, you hold this button down and you push up on this button, this stick right here. So I'm going to turn away so we're not shooting ourselves. So I'm going to hold this. There we go. That shoots the BB. Hold this. All right. Ready. Figured it out on our own. At first we didn't think it shot, but it does. So, but yeah, so remember, just hold those two buttons down and it should work just fine. But anyway, yeah, it's the cool thing about this tank, there's a company called T-90 that makes a lot of these, but they're really expensive. But for the average guy, you know, wants to collect the tank, this is a lot more reachable for the average person. Yeah. So you can get one of these for, you know, between $100 and $200 compared to about $1,000 or more for a T-90 tank. You know, I'm sure the T-90 tanks are made better and everything else, but you know what? If you're for the average Joe, this is a nice alternative. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, let us know. And we'll probably do some more videos on these tanks because we have quite a few of them. All right. Have a great night, guys. Bye-bye.